my friends. Executive Coach Ed DeCosta with another lesson where it's my intention to dispel another one of these common myths that exist with regard to coaching, and that being that coaching is about teaching or training, that you are conveying information to the client, and it's from that conveyance of information that the value comes to the client. Nothing could be further from the truth. The reality is the best coaches ask the best questions. Now, this is a recurring theme, but today's lesson, I really want to give you an example of some of the questions. And these are some questions that if you choose, if they're pertinent to you, if they're relevant, then you can ask yourself these questions, and then, of course, really take the time to explore what the true answers are. But before I ask you those questions, I just want to, again, accentuate this point that the key to adding value to someone is to empower them, equip them to be reflective, to be introspective, to think intentionally and consciously about where they are, how they're performing, how they're showing up, personal life, professional life, with their families, with their neighbors, with maybe someone they're having a dispute with. Think about that. How do you conduct yourself? Even if you have a disagreement with someone, you can have a disagreement without being disagreeable, without being unpleasant, without being less than who you want to be in this world. So here are the two questions. The first one is, what story is holding you back? We talk a lot about the arc of your life, my life, your life, anyone's life follows a particular pattern. Now, we all have different lives, of course, but the point is we've all had positive experiences, really, blessings, things that have gone well for us. And of course, on the flip side, we've had negative experience. We've had things that have happened to us, negative circumstances, maybe choices we've made, bad choices, and consequences from those bad choices. Again, the examples are as broad as the population that you study. So whatever comes to your mind is what you need to explore. So the point is, what story is holding you back? So often people are limited by these beliefs that they hold about themselves that are in fact not true. And when you discover the root cause of that false self-limiting belief, it comes from part of their story, part of their narrative, that I am not capable of doing X, Y, or Z because of who I am or where I was raised or the color of my skin or my gender or my nationality or my heritage or my education or my physical appearance or physical attributes, for my intellect, my personality, some of the things that I experienced as a child. Maybe I wasn't popular, I didn't have a great academic background. It's quite remarkable how these historical, experiences can be retained by people, and they are still walking around the planet holding these beliefs about themselves when they really belong literally in your distant memory. So truly explore what story, what narrative is holding you back, preventing you, telling you that you can't. If I gave you an example of something that, based upon an understanding of who you are and what direction you're heading, I give you a big, hairy, audacious goal. And your immediate reaction is, oh no, I couldn't possibly do that. I'm asking you to chase that thought, that feeling, that gut, visceral reaction down. Why? Why would you say, oh? Because it's in that impulse reaction that quite often a self-limiting belief, that story is called to mind. Oh, I couldn't possibly do that. Why? Well, because my sister is smarter than I am, or no one in my family has done X, Y, or Z. So really reflect, explore, search, dig deep, find that story. And of course, once you've found that bogus story, shed the light of day on it, prove it wrong. I've talked about that, overcoming a gremlin, taking it to court. I've talked about that many times. This is really about identifying that story, that negative story that is keeping you back, that is limiting your view of who you are and what your potential is. And then the second question is, how much energy are you willing to devote to a particular goal? How much energy are you willing to put in? Not are you willing to put energy in, because of course everyone's going to say, yes, of course, I'll put in everything I have. But aside from the platitudes, how much energy, how much time, how much emotion, how much research, how many people are you willing to speak to fortify your strength with regard to your commitment to achieving a particular goal, to recruit and nurture accountability partnerships with people that know you, that trust you, and that you trust, to in a kind, gentle way, if necessary, or in a pretty blunt, kind of tough love sort of way, if that's your personality, hold you accountable. Be friendly reminders. Hey, how'd you do on that goal we talked about? How'd you do this week? How'd you do this month? You told me last time you were going to do these things to move towards your goal. What happened? Oh, I don't hear a lot of progress. I hear a lot of excuses. Those kinds of partnerships. This is not what typical friends do, right? Most typical friends are going to just say, oh, I hear you, me too, life's so busy, right? And they commiserate and they let you off the hook. I'm not saying that's evil or that's not the sign of a true friend, but what I am saying is, in answer to the question, how much energy are you willing to put in? It takes energy and courage and transparency and vulnerability to ask someone to hold you accountable. And again, have a discussion about the type of accountability partnership you're willing to tolerate. Again, the tough love or the more nurturing, encouraging kind of cheerleader. You can do it. I believe in you. Come on, let's do it together. Sort of stuff. Again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. It really is like flavors of ice cream. It's personal preference. But your willingness to do that and you're acting on that willingness and actually doing it is an indication of the energy you're willing to put in to achieving your goal. So those are just two examples of the types of questions that excellent coaches ask. It's not about what you tell them. It's about what you ask them, and then of course what their answers are and what they do about those answers. I hope you found this helpful. Again, at DeCosta, and wherever you are, make it a great day. Take care.